Guys,
Yeah.
Mount Vernon Kid here, and for a long time, I've told you guys I was going to be doing this, and I got four guys with me to do this project with me, and well, three of them is a first time because I've never done videos with them, and one guys you already know and love, but we're here to talk about Carol Danvers, aka Ms. Marvel, getting ready to be promoted July to Captain Marvel. I'm gonna introduce everybody. First, I have Edward 2962.
Hey, everybody.
Have PM Night 12.
Hello.
Sly Cooper 88,
What's going on, everybody?
and of course Deadpoolzilla.
Hello.
So we're here to talk about Miss Carol Danvers. She is, of course, one of my favorite Marvel females, and we're just gonna get all into this, baby. So we're gonna kick it off with Ed. How do you feel about this, Ed? About her new look, her promotion, everything. So you can go first.
Okay. It's pretty interesting. To me, it's actually interesting for a couple different ways because let's just get the talk about the elephant in the room. Over at DC, we know that they're bringing back the original Captain Marvel. Billy Batson. He's going to be called Shazam now. And I kind of had this discussion with Phil, briefly a while back, where it's like, that's kind of a curious, timing that as that's happening over at DC, this is happening over at Marvel, you know what I mean? And, let's just bring up, there's a whole legal thing where, Marvel can publish a comic called, Captain Marvel, but DC can't, even though DC has the original character. But, putting all that aside, it might be pretty interesting to see how they deal with it, obviously, over the past several years, they try to bring, Carol into the limelight. I've always liked the character. I think the character's got a lot of potential and stuff. And, I thought it was an interesting way to, see what else can be done with the character. They've got the new look going on. And I think it can work. I think the fact that they've covered her up a little bit, is interesting, as opposed to, some of the artists were starting to draw more and more, looking like she's wearing a thong and stuff, but now they've got something that looks, slightly more conservative, slightly more respectable. And I'm interested in seeing how it's going to go, how they're going to make it work, I guess, in continuity as far as her being, Captain Marvel now as opposed to Ms. Marvel. There's speculation that maybe she's going to be part of the Kree military, I don't know, But, I'm interested to see, what they're going to do with it.
Question, Ed, do you see her as being, I wouldn't say like the Wonder Woman-esque female for the Marvel Universe, but do you also see that this retrospect of her costume being kind of another take of how DC is handling Power Girl as well?
I, in a way, I kind of think so. You know what I mean? Because I think there's, a lot of people are like, hey, some of the females' costumes have gotten like, sure, they've always been sexy. They've always been, sexy before any of us have even been born. But it seems like in recent years, some of the characters have gotten, more and more and more scantily clad, And it's not just women that, have noticed that, guys have been like, hey, maybe we can have some restraint, maybe I want to give some of these comics to my kids, you can't do that if it looks like it's something out of like, Penthouse or whatever, But yeah, I think that, maybe some of that, probably went into it. You know what I mean? We can still have her look sexy and still have her look, strong and respectable at the same time. So I don't see it as a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. Next. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Uh, that's you, Steve. You next.
Oh, really? I'm the second up?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
I
up.
thought the tree. Okay. What do I will admit, when I first actually saw Carol's new look, the first thing that came to my mind, and to me it was the elephant in the room, was of course the haircut. Now, my introduction to Carol was through the new Avengers comics,
Okay.
and that was when I first got exposed to Carol as a character. Knew nothing about her, and I thought, wow, this is actually a pretty interesting female character. It's like, she's the way that Ed just described her, she's very strong and sexy, kind of like you would expect from Diana, Wonder Woman. But what really intrigued me is that it seemed like, and maybe this is me kind of I guess you can say stretching the imagination, is that she comes across as not just being a strong female character, but a pretty decent leader. I mean, we've seen her. She like led the new Avengers, if I remember correctly, at one point with like Wonder Man and a few others, and she seemed to do pretty well as a leader. She seems like she seems to be like a great leader type, and I'm really looking forward to actually seeing if perhaps with like this new look and kind of new facade and everything, if they'll maybe give her like a leadership role, like maybe she'll lead, say something kind of like along the lines of like the Initiative, like a branch of superpowered beings that kind of work within the government, but that they're kind of more put on a leash, something that's not like Black Ops, but very much in the public eye. One thing that I did notice about her new outfit is that I can kind of agree with Ed on this. I like the fact that they're going more conservative,
Right.
where she's a lot more covered up,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't mind that. But one thing that kind of struck me is that when I was looking at it very detail oriented, it looks kind of reminiscent of her original outfit, or like the outfit that Moonstone wore when she was supposedly impersonating her for the Dark Avengers, which was her original classic outfit when she first officially debuted in Marvel Comics. And I found that very interesting that they did a variation of that. So to me, it's kind of like, okay, so they're kind of doing like a variant of like, her old throwback outfit, if you will. And I don't much care for the haircut. A lot of people say pink. I kind of very vulgar.
Oh, damn it, you took my joke.
That was my joke.
Sorry, but you're not the only one that actually said that, though, Zilla. There were a lot of people that made the pink comparison as well. But as I vulgarly put it, the butchy lesbian type haircut. Not trying to offend anybody, but it's just I don't much care for the haircut. But that's like the only like minor like gripey nitpick. Everything else I seem to be fine with. But there is one major gripe, and anybody that knows me knows my little conspiracy theory going on. It's exactly what Ed pointed out that I wanted to bring up. It seems all too convenient that Jeff Johns comes out and announces that, oh, well, Billy Batts is no longer going to be called Captain Marvel. He's just going to be called Shazam. And then what, like a week or so later, all of a sudden, out of the blue, oh, Carol Danvers is, Captain Marvel. And that just kind of, and all of a sudden, I turned into the question. I turned into Vic Sage. I'm like, what does this mean? How is this all connected? I'm trying to like connect dots here, trying to figure out, okay, how did they manage to do this? And my firm belief is, I've always had the firm belief that DC has always waited, especially since they had Marvel back in the day, that they were just waiting for that one moment when DC just basically says, okay, we're going to quit calling Billy Batson and Captain Marvel, and then swoop, just take the title and take it for themselves. I've always firmly believed that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking happened. I'm not going to be 100% positive, but I do believe that that's probably the case. But overall, minor nitpicks and conspiracy theories aside, I can do that for another video. I actually don't mind it, and I'm looking forward to seeing where the character's direction's going. Like, what can they do with Carol that can be new or refreshing, or something that they can kind of expand upon that they've already done with her character. Okay. So I'm very positive and optimistic for them kind of building character, building Carol. I want to say up to the same level as say like Tony or Steve or even Thor. I'm hoping that she'll be built to like that upper pantheon of Marvel's like characters that people will know.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Phil, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on.
No problem.
Well, in terms of where I started, it was pretty much from the beginning with Ms. Marvel #1.
Okay.
And as far as that book goes, and the way she's represented, I thought her character was okay, but I didn't really care for the basically the female take on the costume. Um, Later on, when she got the costume that Dave Cockrum designed for her, I thought that was great. That blue costume with the high boots and all that stuff. I thought that was fantastic.
The bluish black costume.
Yeah.
Okay.
And before I get into the latest costume, the other thing that I like that Marvel has done, that Marvel and other comic book companies haven't done that much, is taking a character that's female and calling her captain. Um, prior to Carol Danvers, I believe the only two characters that I'm familiar with is the former or Photon, when she was formerly called Captain Marvel back in the day,
Oh, Monica Rambeau. Yeah, she was. She was called Captain Marvel at one point.
and that first cartoon, The Tick, where they had American Made, and when they did the live action show, they wanted to go PC, so they didn't want to call her American Made. They called her Captain Victory.
Right.
And I for one, I kind of dug the fact that they would not automatically just assume that captain meant male. Now, as far as this costume goes, the first time I saw it was on comic book resources,
Right.
and the first image I saw I liked, because the first image I saw was her without the mask on, and it kind of put me in the mind. I don't know if anybody else is familiar with this, because this kind of predates everybody on here, including myself. But there was some wartime stuff that was being propped up that y'all know you might call propaganda or whatever. And there was something dealing with the ladies of the war mining the home front, and there was like someone called Rosie the Riveter, and that's what Carol reminded me of in a more up to date fashion. What I didn't like was the preview page that I saw on CBR as well, which showed her in the mask. Now, I don't know whether or not it's a costume issue or an artist issue, but I know the art seemed almost, I want to say, Liefeldian, and I found it unappealing. Now, maybe under a different artist, it may look good, but as it stands right now, I'm going to take a wait and see approach. And I don't know, that's pretty much where I stand.
Okay. Thank you. Uh, Ty, how you feel about it?
Well, first off, I want to say that I'm really glad Amy's finally got into superhero business. No, but seriously, I like the new costume. It looks like a fusion of her the original Captain Marvel costume.
Okay.
The fact that it's a bodysuit, it's not really showing a lot of skin. I don't mind. The haircut, me, but it's not something I'm gonna bitch and moan over. It's just gonna be something I'm gonna get used to. Carol's been a character I like, but never been one of the characters I've been like, oh, cool. Ms.Marvel. I've never been like that, but I do have a lot of respect for the character. The other thing is, I don't know if I have a lot. By the way, who's writing this?
I'm forgetting who's writing it or who's drawing it. I have to research again.
All right.
If I may, I think it's the woman who wrote the Osborn miniseries where Osborn broke out of jail. I didn't read it, but that's what I remember, reading was who was gonna write it.
All right,
Sorry.
all right. My thing is, I don't know if this book might sell. I mean, I hate to be the realist in the room. I really do. But when's the last time we had a ongoing with Carol Danvers?
2007.
Well, you can see go to 100 issues, so I'd go to 50.
That was the last time she was in her own book, and yeah, it lasted only 50 issues. The last female to have Marvel female to have her own book was X-23, and that was written by Margaret Liu. And I thought she did a very good take on Laura Kinney's character. She's
Yeah,
now currently writing Astonishing X-Men right now.
yeah. But here's the thing: it feels like no one gives a shit about the Marvel characters unless they're X Men, and even that's a stretch.
Hmm.
And I hate to be the real realist in the room, but we haven't seen a lot of good sales of the female Marvel characters for the longest time, not since the '80s.
True.
Again, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but
No, I'm agreeing with you, and I understand. Yeah, it is true. I mean, Marvel, the sales for Marvel females in terms of their own ongoings have not really sold well,
yeah,
for some strange reason, and that's what I get pissed off because of the fact that then you got these people that say, yeah, I love the character, but then you're not supporting the character if that's the case.
yeah,
Um, so I understand that completely, and I think everybody else can understand that as well.
yeah. The stuff with the if she's gonna work with the Kree, I don't mind. It'd actually be cool if her and Ronan teamed up all the time. That'd be kind of an odd partnership right there. Is he still married to Crystal, by the way?
Yeah, he's still married to Crystal.
All right. Um, but if she's working with the Kree, I wouldn't mind because I think Ronan isn't part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be fine. My question is, are we going to see some new roads for Carol?
That'd be great. I think, yeah. Also, building up a Rose Galley for her would be good because she doesn't really have too many. Her main first villain, of course, is Mystique,
Yeah,
which was pretty much almost an
yeah.
accident at
A
most
lot
point.
of people forget. A lot of people seem to forget that Mystique didn't start out as a X-Men villain.
Right.
She was a Ms.Marvel villain at the beginning, and I'd like to see some more rogues because who really does she have as a recurring villain?
Uh,
Mystique, on occasion, the Brood,
the Omega Man.
Skrulls, the Omega Man, like you said,
Mm,
that bitch I hate.
yeah, yeah, Moonstone. So yeah, I understand definitely.
Um, who else? Who else can anyone name? I personally would love to see a villain that could go toe to toe with Carol. Just take it to her and really like pound her into the ground the first time around, the first go around with their fight.
True. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, but someone, me, I'm always a fan of the villains who are not only can take it physically, but also go at you mentally.
Right.
Carol is very intelligent. I'd like someone to take to like outsmart her constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I think that's pretty much what I got in a nutshell.
Okay. Um. Okay. So I guess you guys want to hear my take on it. uh.
Yeah,
Okay.
This should be fun.
Okay.
mhm,
Okay, guys.
absolutely.
Um. Well, guys, Ms. Marvel, as I said before, is I very have a very special place in my heart with Ms. Marvel. I do look at her as one of those Wonder Womanish characters that are strong yet can stand on her own 2 feet and doesn't need the assistance or sometimes you know the the knight in shining armor to help her. You know, um, as Steve applied, yes, she has good leadership skills. She led the New Avengers and the Mighty Avengers, where she led that whole powerhouse team of herself, Ares, Wonder Man, Wasp, the god awful Sentry, Iron Man. Even though technically Iron Man was the leader, she was like the field commander. And then during the Civil War, she had her own like strike team called uh, Lightning, where she was teamed up with younger heroes like for everybody who doesn't know this character, he's big in the '90s called Sleepwalker. He had her. She had Machine Man. And she took Spider Girl, aka Arena Corazon, under her wing as her sidekick. So, and I was enjoying where they were taking her, and I like that. I've known Ms. Marvel since the first time I saw her when Rogue Mystique made Rogue go after her and absorbed her powers and put her in a coma. So I knew her from there, and I was always intrigued by this character, uh, and always just loved to see where they were going to take this character. When she got her own series in the late 2006 or so, I collected that entire series, from issue 1 to 50, because I was so hugely odd about Ms. Marvel. Like, okay, they can do it with her. If they can do She-Hulk and everybody like that, I think they could do a great job with Carol. And unfortunately, it didn't last. It got canceled, and I was a little pissed off about that. But I was glad to see that Marvel kept her in the spotlight, so to speak. They kept her on the New Avengers, and she was second in command, uh, in terms of Luke, being the leader, so to speak, and he appointed her second in command. And so when I was talking to Ty and a few other friends, Tori GNR and Movie Geek 17, big ups to those guys out there, and they showed me the image, and I looked at it, and I'm like, whoa, she lost her long golden locks. I'm like, okay, I'm not really feeling the short hairstyle, and I showed it to my brother, and I was like, Malcolm, look, and he looked, and he's like, she looked like Pink, and I and I laughed, and I was like, yeah, she does. She looks like the music artist Pink, and the costume to me was interesting because it had a military-esque feel to it, because you guys got to remember, she does come back. She is from a military background, so I didn't mind that. And then I saw the mask, and I was like, you know what? They didn't really have to put the mask on her. It was cool the way it was without her mask. I felt that the mask is unnecessary to me. I felt that with her just the costume alone was cool. And then that's where I started thinking, like, okay, is Marvel doing this because of they've changed Power Girl's costume now to be less, revealing as well? I mean, let's face it, Ms. Marvel, she would showcase a lot of the booty and things like that in the thong area, and the legs, and while Power Girl was more about the cleavage and stuff, but look at they've conserved her now in terms of that. I mean, they even updated the costume again, from so to speak. Uh, but I always looked at that like, you know what? Okay, I can tolerate that. But as long as they write her exactly the right way and they do a good job on her, and it also gives us notion that yes, she is gonna survive the outcome of the Avengers versus X-Men. And also, is this a aftermath of those events? That was also going into my head of, okay, this might be something out of that, because from images I know that Marvel does return somehow in the event, Avengers versus X-Men, for a short time. So I'm looking forward to seeing where they take Carol, and so to speak. And that's pretty much my take on it, the whole 9 yard about it. I'm on board with it. Not too much on board with the hairstyle. I thought it was fine that she stayed with her long golden hair. I could care less about them cutting it. But other than that, I'm fine with it. Basically, it's just the mask that really I have a problem with, so to speak. Um, so yeah, that's my take on it, guys. I hope that satisfied all you guys.
Yeah, that's a fair take.
Yeah.
My understanding was that the mask is really part of the the military suit, and it's really like a helmet
Okay.
that most of the Kree military wear, and that her hair is actually not going to be as short as that. The Ed McGuinness part makes it look like it's really going to be kind of like shoulder length. It's just that'll be pulled back a little bit when she puts her mask on or her helmet on. So
Okay.
that was kind of my understanding. So
All right.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Yeah, that's a little better. I'm wondering how much her power set as well is gonna grow. Are they gonna? Is it gonna increase or is it gonna stay as she is now? I mean, she's a powerful character nonetheless. Nobody can deny that. I mean, but I say it'll probably be nothing compared to when she was binary. When she had her binary powers, that was when she was at full blown capacity.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Um,
Go ahead, Ty.
I'm gonna say up front, I don't want her to get any stronger. I think she has a power set where she can take on street level villains and cosmic villains.
Okay, that's a good question. All right, guys. Ty just brought up a good question. How about that? Her power set as it is or stronger? I'll start with Steve on this one.
I was actually hoping that you're gonna pick me first. The way that I look at Carol's power set is that pretty much I can agree actually with Zilla on this. She is strong as she is, but I do have to kind of disagree with her not at least being a little bit stronger. Like the way I look at it, and go to the fantastical with me here just for a moment, if you will. Like say she's facing, say for example, she's facing Thanos alone, has all the gems of the Infinity Gauntlet just hypothetically. Now, she's strong enough as it is, but what if by some chance she's able to actually, somehow, because she never really lost her binary powers per se. They showed in, like, part of her solo series that she still has that, but she can only, like, summon that power on, like extreme circumstances. And that was when she was, I believe, fighting the Brood Queen, or like a whole army of Brood.
Right.
So she can still call upon that power, but the way I look at it is that she's powerful the way that she is now, but in say like, the most extreme, like, she has no other choice, then she should be able to call upon her binary powers. But here's a drawback to that though. It drains her a lot quicker, and pretty much the actual like force of those powers is a little more destructive. Like basically think of it as like a miniature version a miniature version of Jean Grey basically calling upon the Phoenix Force, but she can just control it, like
So-
just a little bit more.
What you're saying is, let's make the binary powers like her going Super Saiyan.
Pretty much yes. That's what I'm trying to imply.
Okay, I can see that, but if she uses it too long, it's like a danger to her.
Pretty much yeah. It's not so much like per se a danger to her, but more a danger to everyone around her.
Okay, okay.
By the way, people, I wasn't saying Carol's actually going to go Super Saiyan. I'm just comparing what Steve said. It got like I was thinking to myself, where have I heard this kind of thing before? Oh yeah, that show.
Yeah. Phil, power set normal or higher?
Well, I don't know. I've been kind of off and on with Carol's ongoings and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the power set in and of itself, I wouldn't mind them taking her pretty much to the limit, because it was like the original Captain Marvel. They only went just so far with him.
Right.
So why not go? Why not try even a little bit further with her? As a matter of fact, I would throw in the because I don't know if Ms.Marvel ever had this at the time when she was Ms. Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider even throwing in the power cosmic thing, where when the face kind of goes all dark and you see stars within the face, and utilize that in some way as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's interesting. Ed, power set as it is or higher?
I hadn't thought about this until Phil just said it. I think like in the early early issues back in the 70s, they had that kind of cosmic awareness thing, but I think they called it her seventh sense. And I think after a while they like dropped it, where it was she would know things beyond just what you would see or hear. It wasn't quite a psychic power, but it was kind of sort of quasi that. That would be an interesting thing to do.
Pretty much.
And
Yeah, that's pretty much like Silver Surfer and a lot of other cosmic characters like Quasar. They have that cosmic
right.
awareness.
Right. I think that would be interesting, and kind of like what Sly and Ty were saying about maybe have her use the binary powers sparingly. Like if she used it too much, it would drain her out, though. But I wouldn't want to get to the point where they've done the whole thing of, oh, she's got this great power, but she can't control it type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that story's been done so many times,
Right.
They did it with Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm.
They did it with Wanda the Scarlet Witch or whatever.
Right.
I would just have it be a thing where like you occasionally they do it with Johnny the Human Torch, where he can go Nova, but then after he goes Nova, he's out of it for a little bit or whatever. Yeah. But I think it would be more interesting if they pull that out like every once in a while, every occasion maybe. But for the most part, keep it close to what she has now. Maybe bump it up a notch or two, but really make it about her using the power she's got, but then using her skills, her smarts. Maybe have her fight a foe that's just as strong or stronger, where she's got to call upon her military background, or maybe she remembers some tactic that she learned from Captain America, or being with the Avengers, or something that those guys wouldn't have thought of. Have her do clever stuff with it. You know what I mean?
Okay, I hear you. That's interesting. Go ahead, Ty.
How about this with the binary powers? How about like someone, if they're going to use the binary powers, how about someone gives her like and this is just all hypothetical. If they do decide to bring in the binary powers and kind of use like how we've been talking about, why not have like what the Flash has now in the Flash comic, where Barry Allen has that gauge to gauge how much of the Speed Force he's using. When she goes to the binary form, maybe she has like this kind of gauge to gauge how much power she uses before it burns out.
Interesting. That's kind of interesting.
I can actually go with that.
Yeah, I can go with that because I as much as I find it interesting that now Barry has that now, like a gauge that if he taps into the Speed Force too long, it's very dangerous, and we've seen the dangers that it causes now in the last issue of the Flash. He caused a black hole, a wormhole that pretty much sucked up somebody very close to the Flash universe. So yeah, I think that would be interesting too. That's very interesting. Good idea. That's a good. I'll take that.
Yeah. Maybe if it hits like 100%, her powers burn out. So she's got to like kind of keep. If she accesses the power of binary, she can only go up to like maybe up to 90% until she starts losing it.
Okay. That's good. All right. I like that. I wouldn't mind her maybe a smidget of getting a little stronger. I'm not talking about hugely strong, but I definitely think if they're trying to make her out to be a straight edge, character that is on the front line, is there to defend the Creed Empire or Earth. Like I believe, to get her a little more stronger than she is, but I definitely think her binary powers would be really well and really cool to have brought back into effective as much as anything. So that's my take on it. I find it. We'll just have to wait, guys, to July for this to see where they'll take her. Mainly.
What villains like already in the Marvel universe do you want to see her take on in this comic? By the way,
villain wise, okay. I think they definitely. It's hard to make new villains sometimes that people will get behind. I will definitely vouch for that. And
Well, I meant like what villains pre-existing already in the Marvel universe do you want to see her fighting this ongoing?
well, I would want to see her bitch slap Moonstone around a couple of times. Bitch slap Moonstone around a couple of times, like just almost not even like a retaliation, like she comes and she says, remember all the times, you remember the time when you was basically betraying me, that stops now, like you can't handle this now, and something like that, and she just Moonstone gets really pissed off, and there's a fight, and she just dominates her real quick or so. That'd be kind of funny.
Um, I'd like to see her take on Terrax. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, I would think, yeah, any cosmic S villain, because that's the thing, they don't focus too much on the Marvel cosmic universe as much, and I think could be a ploy to explore that universe a little bit more. I mean, I could definitely see her, teaming up more with the Guardians of the Galaxy and people like that more. Um,
He was close with Quick. He was on Earth.
yeah, Quasar, maybe even teaming up with the Annihilators, her teaming
Richard
up with
Rider.
yeah, Rich. Well, yeah, if they bring back Richard Rider, I know they're talking about bringing Nova back, and I'll be glad because I love Nova. Um, but yeah, definitely teaming up with the Annihilators, Gladiator, Ronin, Beta Ray Bill, and Quasar. Those are the Annihilators. That'd be cool. Um, I would really enjoy that. Who'd you say?
Does anybody remember
I was just saying.
Gamora?
Who?
Who?
Gamora.
Oh, Gamora.
Gamora.
Yeah. There's actually one villain one villain that I have not actually seen in a while, and it's actually the enemy of Annihilus in the negative zone. Maybe they should try to do something to bring back Blastar.
Ooh, good one, Blastar. I'll take him.
Did he get smacked around in Annihilation?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was the last time I saw him in Annihilation.
Thanos, if I remember right, and it's been a while since I've seen Annihilation, didn't Thanos and Annihilus gang up on Blastar?
Yeah, they did. But that'd be interesting. All in all, it'd be really interesting, and like I said, guys, we just gotta wait till July to see where this goes. But I think we covered pretty much everything, so to speak. So I want to thank everybody for coming on and participating with me in this.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
No problem.
Definitely hope we can do this again sometime.
Definitely.
I hope you guys enjoyed this take of what we feel about Ms. Marvel, or I should say Captain Marvel. Well, Ms. Marvel, because she hasn't been promoted yet until July.
And I'll still call her Miss Marvel.
Right.
I
But
still call Ms. Marvel until I see that comic.
yeah, but other than that, thank you, Ed,
Thanks.
Phil,
Thank you for having me again.
Steve,
No problem.
and Ty, of course.
Always a pleasure.
Okay, and guys, I hope you enjoy this. And you guys, my motto. Stay tuned, keep it real, as always. Y'all take care.